This is my Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean from Skyfall.
Now pay attention, 007. I've always tried to teach you two things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be. I'm Christopher Morales, that one Bond guy, and I'm coming to you guys with something that I've only really dreamt about, and I can't believe that today is the day that, well, I get to bring you guys a video that, again, I've only fantasized about. It's insane, the feelings and emotions that I have right now. It's just pure excitement and just the overall journey of acquiring my Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean is just beyond words. From a fan standpoint, from a watch lover standpoint, it's just filled with things that I will never forget. One of the biggest things and takeaways from this whole journey is the fact that I will never forget this moment for as long as I live. The things that kind of progressed and happened, I feel like all happened for a reason and it was meant to be memorable. The friendships that I've got out of this that are going to last a lifetime, and just people that in conversation just made it super special. So that being said, yes, this is the video, my testimonial video, I guess you could say, of acquiring my Omega. And it's not going to be specifically about the watch, like not going into the specs or whatnot of the watch, but more so my journey and raw emotions of how I got here. I told you guys from the beginning that this channel was going to be about my journey and being a Bond fan and just celebrating moments of hanging out with other fans or going to film locations or milestones such as this. And so today's that. And so this story started about 2 years ago. This is 2 years in the making for acquiring this timepiece, and there was so many twists and turns and high points, low points, and waiting for this for sure. So I made a goal for myself that I was going to save for my own Omega. Obviously, the watches to a Bond fan are very hard to come by. It's not like something that you can just, oh, I'm going to grab, or, it's a special moment. It's a special time whenever you acquire either your first or one of many Bond watches, and it's something throughout the films that we've seen, and it's a huge part of his arsenal, and it's just iconic. So saying that I have an Omega, it doesn't only bring the joy from a watch fan standpoint, but just the overall franchise fan standpoint. Like, this is very special. Shoutouts to Mr. David Zaritsky of the Bond Experience for having Lindy Hemming, who really was an advocate for Omega and Bond at the beginning. If it wasn't for her, Omega really wouldn't be a Bond, like one of the biggest Bond brands out there. But that story of how it all happened, I think she put it perfectly when she said, Bond is somebody who needs to be elegant but yet strong, and Omega encapsulates everything about Bond, and I guess you could say they complement each other. They're both strong, elegant, and super durable for whatever life throws at them. So I currently work at Starbucks, so obviously it's a part-time job, and then that with going to school definitely meant if I was going to get to this goal that I was going to work hard for it, which I don't regret all those long days. I know there were days that were longer than they should have been, or picking up extra shifts, but again, I had a goal and I was going to reach it, and I stayed dedicated to that. And thus we're here. But there were also things in between, medical emergencies and life things where I had to get into the Omega fund that I had. So it was hard to kind of balance everything to make sure, if I'm going to go and get this timepiece and work hard, then I'm not going to go and like spend extra money with friends or going out, little decisions like that. So for those kind of wanting, and I'm guessing this is coming from a college kid's standpoint, or anybody who is not necessarily able to get funds for a watch right off the bat, or they have to work part-time, whatnot, it's going to be tough to save, but the end result, you got to remember your goal. and it's going to be so worth it at the end. So you can do it. I'm serious. To anyone watching thinking I'm just a college kid, or I'm, I don't know where or how I'm going to do it, you can do it. If you put a goal and you set it, you're going to get there. You just got to stay dedicated and remember the end result. So when it came time to actually looking for which model I wanted, because I know I wanted a Bond watch, but which one to choose from? There's a few. Obviously the Brosnan one, which was high on my list because Brosnan is just one of my all-time favorite Bonds. Also, that's the iconic watch that really started Omega and Bond's relations together. So a lot of huge pluses there. But also the Craig watches, well, obviously they all look and are fantastic. Some of them are different price points and whatnot. But I wanted one that would be durable and one that is great for dressing up as well as everyday use. And so when talking to my great, wonderful friend Lorenzo, who's really been the one through this whole journey, that has helped me a lot, he said, you know what, you and the Planet Ocean would work really well together and it would look really good. So thus my search for the Planet Ocean was on. And like I said, I was originally going to go for the Quantum because I also, speaking of Lorenzo, had a chance to visit him, and really that was an awesome experience. I have a video on that, on how that went and all the fun that we had and all the goodies I got to try on and check out. I got to test drive literally all the Bond watches and try them on and see how they looked on my wrist and all that. And the Quantum really stole the cake because I realized that, it just fit well, it looked great. And then, so there I go, thinking, this is the watch, this is the one, this is the model that I want to get. Fast forward to about a couple weeks ago when I was really about to go look and start finding out which watches were on the market and which ones would be the one. The Quantum one was definitely getting swiped up. Everyone, I believe it was because of the movie hype and whatnot, everyone was getting watches left and right. And there's a lot of things that had to be coming with the watch that I personally wanted to have just as a completist, such as the papers and the box. Not necessarily was a huge thing for me, but definitely the papers were important. So once I put those into the search engine on the different websites, I used Chronos 24, and then I looked on Crown and Caliber, and then eBay as well. It really limited my options for when it came to that watch in particular. I found one, and so I was about a week away from, pulling the trigger, and I go on the Monday that I was going to make the purchase, and it was gone. I kid you not, like 1 week it got snatched up. And that's when another huge thing that I learned through this whole process came to light, and that was patience. Looking for your watch, the one that's yours, is going to take time and patience for sure. You don't want to go in and just pull a trigger for the sake of pulling a trigger. I think that could be said for any big purchases. But I obviously was gutted, so I went to AJB and Facebook to kind of put a little blurb out there to see if anyone in the community could help me when it came to other resources or other places that I may have not, like websites that I have not looked up or known about. And I got messaged from a gentleman on AJB, which, if you guys don't know, AJB is the mega Bond fan forum that you guys can go and talk anything and everything Bond, whether it's clothing or looking for. A lot of people sell things on there as well, part of their collection. So it's a really cool site that's been around for years. So I got a message on AJB from a gentleman named Stefan, who is another huge player in this story. And he said, hey, I know you wanted the Quantum, but I have the Planet Ocean straight from Skyfall, and it originally was part of a set. I bought them as a set, and I wanted to sell them as a set, but I know how hard you've been looking for a Planet Ocean, so I'd be willing to talk to you about the Planet Ocean. And so messaging back and forth, and him telling me bits of pros about this watch and how it was different from the Quantum. Obviously, it's the 8500 movement, so it's better movement, and the ceramic bezel is absolutely gorgeous. in different lights. It took me a little bit to do the research, and of course, me being me, I watched countless hours of YouTube videos on it, and talking to other friends who've had the watch or have it. I was sold. I was in love. Nothing could shy away from the fact that I was obsessed with this one, and it's always was meant to be. I said, let's do it. We made a deal, and thus I was a brand new Omega owner, and a watch that, Skyfall holds a special place in my heart. It is my mother's favorite movie. It was Judi Dench's last movie. It was the 50th anniversary of Bond. I mean, so many things when it came to Skyfall was special to me, and I realized, this is probably why I was meant to get the Skyfall, because all of the ties that I have with that I wouldn't have had with the Quantum. But when we did the deal, he said, I'm going to be sending it to you, but what he sent to me was nothing that I expected. I thought, obviously, the watch, made a great friend out of it, somebody new off AJB, but he also sent me some really amazing goodies that really only Bond fans would do, and that is what, when I think about it, is something I'll never forget and never take for granted. And it's just, I get emotional about it because I never thought would be treated so well when I getting my first watch. I thought I'd legit just go to a website or a boutique and just buy it and be like, boom, I got the watch. But no, something that I wouldn't have gotten if I would have just went to a boutique or a one of the websites is the fact that I'm a lifelong friend, and the experience, he totally tailored it to me being a Bond nerd, and he sent me some amazing things. This is the Omega Lifetime Bond issue for 2012, the Skyfall edition, which is super awesome, obviously fitting for the watch, and they're getting hard to find now, so it was so cool to have this one next to the new Bond magazine for Omega Lifetime, and it touched my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, I have something that is gonna, represent the watch and the movie. It was just awesome. Then he also sent me something special, which I really hope my mom's not watching this. She'd probably watch it because it's kind of a Christmas present. But he sent me a bulldog from Skyfall, and so that's gonna go to my mother's Christmas present, which I can't wait to see her reaction for that, because again, mom's favorite movie, Skyfall, and that is one thing that she's always wanted, so excited about that moment coming up. And also some really cool ads from, funny enough, Quantum of Solace. When that watch came out, he sent me some of those, and it was just awesome. And not only that, but this watch was in pristine condition. He not only had the box, but even the wrapping paper Omega sends you when you first get the new watch, like if it's brand new from the factory, the wrapping paper, the cards, the papers, everything, the manual. The presentation was as if I bought a watch from 2012 when this originally came out. So needless to say, I was super excited about that, and just honored to be able to have this kind of piece of Bond history in the shape that it was, because it's being an older watch, sometimes they get scuff marks and whatnot when you're looking for pre-owned watches and whatnot, but this watch was immaculate. And as you guys have probably been seeing, the massive amounts of wrist shots and pictures I've been taking and posting on Instagram, I mean, it's a gorgeous timepiece, but not as gorgeous as the story and journey of how I acquired it. So that being said, I do want to invite one person on, if you guys are okay with it. I know it's been a longer video, but this is a well-deserving moment, and I want to invite somebody who's really been a vital part of this whole journey. And if you guys don't mind hanging out for a little bit longer, we're going to talk to this individual, and we'll get more insight on the watch, how he played a role. So, and we have Lorenzo on. Yes, I told you guys I'm going to be bringing him on, and Lorenzo, aka Mr. Omega Bond Watchers, thank you so much for coming on to this very special video. How are you, brother?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Chris. Glad to see you, man. Glad to see you're doing well. How's
Yeah,
college?
Oh, I mean, obviously I'm in New Digs right now, and it's college. This just put it mildly. But this is obviously a huge moment, and you've been with me every single step of the way. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the countless questions that I've had answered, and you being there late night chats and kind of, saving me from making some very interesting decisions. Shout outs to Sharif Jewelers and the No Time to Die situation. And I wanted to have you on this very special video to not only talk about the watch, but again, thank you for everything you've done.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's my pleasure. It's a journey, as you know, and you, when you're acquiring your first timepiece, like no one has the same path, and you'll think you want something, and you'll end up with something completely different. Same thing happened to me. Like I thought I wanted one model, and I ended up with something completely different. So it's exciting. It's something you'll never forget, and I'm really glad I was able to be a part of your journey.
Well, I thank you for that because I can honestly say, out of this whole thing, and I expressed it earlier, is the fact of all the relationships that I've gotten through it. I mean, I can honestly say you're a brother for life and somebody I look up to and somebody that I'm super happy and I'm proud to be friends with. So that being said, buddy, I have a few questions. I haven't got into the specs of the watch, so if you don't mind, this is the Planet Ocean from Skyfall. Do you mind just sharing some of your favorite features of the watch that you have come to learn and love throughout the years of owning it? Because I know you have it as well.
Yeah. So this watch for me holds a very special place in my heart because it was a gift I got from my parents on my 30th birthday, which was just under 4 years ago. And I wasn't sure if I wanted this watch at first because of the size of it. It was very chunky, in my opinion, and it was a little overpowering. And I was like, how much am I really going to wear this watch? And also the fact that it's not 100% screen accurate because the one that was worn on screen was made of titanium and was never produced for sale. So this is the closest you'll ever get to a screen accurate one, unless Omega decides to do a limited edition run of some sort or
Mhm.
something to honor Skyfall. But I was kind of in the camp of like, do I really need this watch? And it wasn't until I received it as a gift that I was more or less, I started wearing it, and wearing it is what made me fall in love with it. And there's a lot of aspects about this watch I love. It was my first ceramic dial watch, or ceramic bezel watch. So I love the matte ceramic of it and the look of it, the durability of it. It's not aluminum. The sandblasted dial, I love that. So you have like black and gray. It's just a very different feel to it. And another thing is which I learned later was the inside workings of this watch. It was the first in-house movement for Omega. And what in-house movement means is it was designed by Omega from the ground up, and they built the watch around the movement. All the previous Bond models before that were ETA modified movements, which ETA is a company that produces the movements for all watches, and they basically specify them to the specifications of whatever brand they're making them for. So that was a big change, and obviously being a coaxial, that's all good. And it has a silicone balance spring, so that helps with the timing of the watch and keeping it accurate, and it helps with any variances that could happen from you know shock waves or sound waves or any kind of waves that can penetrate into the case. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. And I gotta agree. When I mean, you know the story. I was all about the quantum, and I don't think I've shared it with you up to this point. That's why I was kind of saving this conversation. The reason why I decided to go in, there's one night, the gentleman that was selling me the watch, he said, "Hey, I know you really want the quantum, but here are some things about the Skyfall that are an upgrade from the quantum." And I told him I know the upgrades. It's just the sizing and all of that feels like it'd be a bit chunky on my wrist, but it wasn't until I had it on when I realized, the I think the bracelet really complements it. I mean, it looks gorgeous in different lighting, like when you're in the sun. There's a difference when you're in low lighting, and then when you're in straight direct sunlight, it's just beautiful. The lume is fantastic with the dual color. Um, and just everything about it just felt right. It felt clean. It had that bit of class, but yet durability. I know you said this one was a really good watch when it comes to durability. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think I had also told you, like, for the price of what a Quantum of Souls watch is going for now, which is pretty much back to its original value, you could get this watch for just about the same price,
Yep.
and it has way more modern technology in it. And I think it would hold up better over time for you. So, this is your first watch. You're going to want something that has that's going to get a lot of wear to be able to withstand the punishment of everyday life and still look
Yep.
great. Not saying there's anything wrong with the Quantum Souls watch, but I'm just saying for the price,
Mhm.
it was worth it for you to probably do the upgrade. And then also the fact of some of the features that were different on this one is you get a display case back, which is kind of nice. You also, one of the things I love about this model is, like I said, is the ceramic matte bezel. And then actually the bezel click is 160 clicks and not just 60. So that's a huge difference, which, I like when there's like these minute differences between the models.
Mhm.
And then obviously it's a satin brush bracelet, and that's going to do well versus a high polished for wear and tear. But this model just like it wears well, and I just thought you'd be better off, and that's why I kind of recommended to you. I was like, you might want to give the Skyfall another look.
Yeah. And I am so glad that I did, because thinking about it too, it's like the Skyfall as itself. I mean, it's my mom's favorite movie. It's the one that we actually went to go see together first time in like a huge theater setting, whole huge theatrical experience. And when I thought about that, and especially it with being Judi Dench's last movie and the 50th anniversary of Bond, it's like I had so many ties to this specific movie that I wouldn't really have with Quantum. So when I thought all about that, I was like, you know what, I'm sold, and I'm so glad that I did that, and I couldn't be any happier. And so I mean, again, the whole experience with you being a part of it is just phenomenal, and one definitely like you said, this is the first one of many, and I'm just thankful that this first time was has been blessed by your guidance and all that. So brother, thank you so much for this little quick moment and being a part of this video and just hang out.
Absolutely. Thanks for
So
having me.
for sure. So everyone, be sure follow anything related when it comes to watches, Bond. Follow Omega Bond Watches on Instagram. So until next time, Lorenzo, I'll see you around. Okay.
See ya. Go
All right.
Braves.
Take care. All right. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Lorenzo, for hopping on and being a part of this. It's always a special time whenever we can do collabs and such. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. So that's it, guys. This is the journey. This is the video that, I mean, obviously you can tell from this whole time I can't stop smiling, because thinking about this is just a wonderful moment. The advice that I have for anybody thinking, and I know I touched on this a little bit earlier, is do it. You will not regret getting an Omega, especially as Bond fans, obviously, because it's I think one of our holy grail pieces of any collection is the watches of James Bond, and obviously we're all huge fans of the watches of James Bond. But you guys, if you're planning to get one, make sure you got patience, make sure you got dedication and drive, and it's all going to be worth it no matter what. Like, to this day, and I look down on it and I see it on the wrist, encapsulate the hard work that it took to get there and the journey that I had meeting all these individuals that have helped me get to this point, Stefan. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for making this journey and this experience obviously something that I will never forget in my lifetime. Lorenzo, again, I know I've said it multiple times, but thank you for being there for all the late nights, all the conversations, all the questions that I've had, because I had tons, and just being there as my support. I know there was times where him and I had conversations about things. I was like, I don't know, am I going to do it? Am I going to be able to do it? There was some doubt creeping in, but he was there and he had my back. And now I am so honored and excited to say I'm part of a club that has some very amazing people. And it's just awesome. And I am truly humbled. That being said, we've come to the end of the story. So be sure to continue following me on Instagram. And thanks for everyone. I just recently hit 1,000 followers on Instagram. Thank you for the love and support. I can't say that enough. Just being able to share with you guys every step of the way of every single journey I have Bond related is just a goal that I've had from the beginning, and this is a huge milestone. So I'm glad I was able to share it with you all. That being said, I'm Christopher Morales, that one Bond guy, and we'll see you next time. Take care.